it also concerns me why internally the community is still doing things to destroy itself. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as those things continue, I don't see how you can make things better when internally there's a lot of things you have to do. I
Right.
look at, for example, in most major urban areas, the school systems in those areas are always the poorest performing. Now, I know that
Right.
there are a host of social economic reasons that contribute to that, and I get that. But what I'm saying is we need to be focused on those types of things and getting those types of issues addressed internally. For example, just making sure that the kids are getting to school on time and they're doing their homework. Simple things, the low
Mm-hmm.
hanging fruit, you know, and but instead that we're talking about astronomical homicide rates in Baltimore and Chicago and in places like that. And I just keep wondering at what point will all of the communities, the communities that are impacted and less represented and are struggling the most with socioeconomic issues, at what point will the light come on that people will start to say, you know what, we have to get this together because we're going to have to help ourselves to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And
like we used to.
well, yeah, I just we talk about that all the time. I mean, what are your Miss Susan's thoughts?
Miss Susan. Miss Susan. Miss Susan.
Wake up.
What do you think, Miss Susan?
Well,
It's too much. It's too much. I know it's just like there's a lady down here. It's just too much.
I know. Just
It's too much.
wake up, Susan.
when you said do their homework and all that stuff, right? Okay, so I think about a lot of things. Are they hungry? Okay, is there if they don't understand their homework, is there someone that can help them? I mean, there's there's a lot of factors that affect the stuff that you just said a whole bunch of stuff that can be dissected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So bottom line, we need to help each other again, like we
Yes, sir.
used to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know how to make that happen because we're so divided right
Mm-hmm.
now. We talk about each other awfully. So
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, when I look at and again, I'll just go back to remember our show on reality television
Oh
and
gosh.
and the images that are portrayed on reality television. So, you have the girlfriends with the bad attitudes, the bad weaves, and the whole 9 yards, and then and somebody is sleeping with somebody else's boyfriend or girlfriend. They go to a really nice restaurant. They come in there, they throw some champagne on each other, they get into a fight, call each other bitches, and you know what I mean. That seems to be that's the theme to a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these reality shows, and that's not a good look
Yeah.
for for
No, by no
for
way.
the community, and when young people are watching that kind of stuff,
And they are.
they're watching like crazy,
And
and
they think it's the norm.
right, and that is
Yep.
not the norm. You let your wife and Miss Susan go to TGI Fridays and get into an altercation
Start throwing
and
bottles at
and
each
see
other.
what happens. We'll be raising bail money, and absolutely, and and when you look at things like the whole thing that is in the community about I don't like this guy because he doesn't have good hair and this guy is too dark, this girl's too light. I mean, all kinds of really stupid things that we've adopted over the years that are not helping us to help each other. And
Right.
it just
So you put that on top of I'm really 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 hungry, okay,
exactly.
and I'm going to bed because I'm just so hungry, and my mother didn't, our father didn't pay attention in class, so they can't help me. When they were in school, so they can't help me, and I'm just going to bed because I'm hungry.
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, what do you do?
And a lot of those factors, and again, every group, every culture has its idiosyncrasies, and I understand that. but we have a lot of things to overcome, if you will, that historically have dogged us. And when you look at the things that are facing the entire community, because nobody likes to pay a lot of money for gas.
Right.
No one likes to see, like, I was in the store the other day, and there was a loaf of bread for $4.
That's crazy.
$4.
And
I
you
couldn't
put it
believe-
back, I hope.
I did. I just bought one slice. You know, it was crazy. So no one wants to pay a lot for bread. No one, wants to pay a lot for gas.
Which, you don't live on the bus line, so you have to drive to work, and it costs $3.30. No, really more than that, almost 50 cents a gallon to get to and from work.
Yeah, so there are just so many things, getting engaged with your school, getting engaged with your police departments, getting engaged with, all kinds of other things that make your quality of life better, so that you're better prepared to deal with these things. And a lot of these things, then bad, are things that don't cost a lot of money. How much does it cost you to go to PTA?
Right.
How much does it cost you to go to a meeting with your local police district? How much does it cost to sit in on some court cases just to see how the criminal justice system is working? Those types of things. Or how much does it cost you to help your kid do her algebra?
Okay. So if you're not working 2 or 3 jobs, right?
Well, that's true.
Okay.
But historically, just think about it historically, when our relatives were out in the fields and doing all kinds of things, and look at all the brilliant folks that they got through, because folks were determined.
That's true.
They were determined.
No, that's true.
And I'm not saying that was an easy time back then, because there was all kinds of craziness going on back in the day. We're talking about Jim Crow and the Depression and all kinds of things were in that mixed bag. But there was still, it appeared to be a stronger sense of community, just because there was a unified struggle, if you will. And I certainly don't want to see, more and more struggles. I'm not saying that at all. But I do think it's so important that the community needs to get engaged internally, so that you can deal with the craziness. You can deal with these abortion knuckleheads and anti-abortion knuckleheads, or whatever side of the issues you fall in on. But you just have to have a sense of purpose, in my view, so that you can address these things.
Right.
Well, that's kind of scary, because I would hate for women to go back to the back room abortions.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
That's so
someone
scary.
just sent me a message saying they think that the Republican attacks on abortion rights is directly related to the efforts to increase the dwindling white population.
Oh, yeah. I was watching The View today, and conversation came up about the dwindling population in Japan and here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you're talking about being evil and sinister, you don't know what types of things are driving people, and let's keep it real. There are a lot of African American people who are against abortion as well. I mean, historically, African Americans are very conservative people, very conservative, and it's ironic that the conservative label has been knighted to one group of people.
Right. Right. Well, we've had black folks with who've been um one issue voters before. People who would vote for someone based on one particular thing. Some of the churchy black folks. If you got a candidate that is for gay folks, or candidate that these abortion issues or things like that, they're like, oh, we're against them. We're against whoever's for this, and even if the other person is against your pocket and your job and your child's job and
anything else. But they're like, no, we're gonna vote for this. I'm like, well, y'all gotta think. You gotta be more
Look
strategic.
global, yeah.
Yeah, you got to look beyond. So, and that's, I think, kind of what the Democrats need to do is focus on what it is they're going to do. Give people something to vote for, and not vote against. People, you know, that's what the issue is going to have to be. Right now, they're focused on voting against Trump, which to me is enough. But they're going to need, for other people who may not be so clear, whose pocketbooks may be a little fatter than they were 2 years ago, and be like, this is okay now. Wait a minute, this guy is, I'm not hurting, but we got to get back to being compassionate and caring about everybody else. Caring about other people too.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm doing great and nobody else is,
well,
indeed,
just
is my greatness.
Just wait until the price of pork and stuff increase.
So that's a whole deeper subject on another level
yes,
at
sir.
another time.
Because really, it's
speaking
coming.
of time, which we've run out of, just going at it.
Oh, I think Dinbad has faded out on us. So I will step in for him and help him out. But this has been a great conversation we've been having this evening. And, we've touched on a lot of different things. We've touched on gentrification. We've touched on politics. We've talked about violence in our schools and just a host of issues. Oh, there he is. Just a host of issues. So
yeah,
I really appreciated the conversation, and then Bab will let you take us out, sir.
Yeah, we've touched on a whole bunch of things, even through.
Oh, there he goes again. I tell you. Well, anyway, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty today. That's unfortunately what happens sometimes when you're in one state and your other radio host is 1,000 or 2 miles away. Sometimes these things happen, but we certainly appreciate everyone listening this evening, and we hope that you will join us next week, because we always like to give it to you straight, no chaser. And of course, Thin Bad, we know that you are on Facebook, and people are catching up with you, and you've got your writings going on and all those types of things. So please take a moment, if you're listening to us in the United States, you're listening to us internationally, to go and check out Thin Bad's Facebook under the name of Wendell Phillips. And of course, Miss Susan, thank you for stepping in for Ann Beasy. And Ann Beasy, of course, you can catch her every morning on Power 88 in Las Vegas, or you can download their app. And she's always doing her thing. And of course, you can catch us every week here on Straight No Chaser. And as always, we just thank you for listening, and we thank you for the calls, and just thank you for the support. So we will see you next week. Bye. You've been listening to Straight No Chaser. So join us next week for more hot topics. And also, you can always catch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, iHeartRadio.